YouTube, what's going on? We are back with build videos. Twitch chat have been asking me for my builds that I've been using this season, especially with Onslaught coming out during Into the Light on April 9th. So we thought we'd put these builds out on YouTube for you guys to use as well. And the first one we're starting off with is a Solar Titan build. This build literally is unkillable if used correctly. Now, it is a bit overkill, but, you know, we're doing a horde mode in Destiny 2, and we want to stay alive. So, if you like this build video, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video, drop a comment below, tell me what builds you've been using this season, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more build videos coming soon. Now, let's get into the video. Going over the subclass setup, you can use either super. If you're going to be doing a boss fight, you can use Burning Maul, so you can hot swap to those fancy Pyrogales for extra damage. If not, and you're just doing ad clear, you can just use the Hammer of Sol super, which is great ad clear. I like to use the Rally Barricade to start us off on here for the shorter cooldown, but the Tower Barricade is completely fine if you prefer that for getting reses. Use any jump ability you want, whichever one you prefer. Catapult, best jump on Titan. Now, this is a big one. Throwing Hammer, the Bonk Hammer, you know how it goes. Yeah, it's literally non-negotiable. Make sure you're using it. And then you want the Healing Nade. The Healing Nade is so viable right now for obviously grabbing your restoration and staying alive all the time in no matter what type of content you are playing. For the two aspects, you want Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus is solar ability final blows, Hammer of Sol impacts, defeating scorched targets, all that sort of fun stuff, create sunspots. Your abilities will regenerate faster in sunspots, and your super drain more slowly when standing in a sunspot as well. Every time sunspots apply scorch and deal damage to targets, entering that sunspot will grant you with restoration as well. So another way of staying alive. Restoration is so broken, it's unreal. Then you want Roaring Flames. Final blows with solar weapon, solar abilities or ignition increase the damage of your solar abilities. The throwing hammer is already broken enough. Having ×3 Roaring Flames makes it even more broken, so have fun with that. Moving on to the fragments that are going to make this build virtually unkillable. First one, Ember of Solace. It's going to increase your radiant time and your restoration effects, okay? It's just nice to have to keep those effects the highest possible value that you can. Ember of Torches. This provides you with radiant from your Bonk Hammer. Make sure you're using it. Literally an extra 25% damage boost to all your weapons. And you can crack anti-barrier champions. Easy. Then you're going to want Ember of Empyrean. Ember of Empyrean, any solar ability final blow, any weapon final blow will increase and extend the duration of your restoration and radiant. Basically making it so you never lose restoration and never lose radiant, virtually making you unkillable. So I'm not kidding. You can see in the footage that I'm using this build in a solo duality, and it's absolutely insane. It's so good. For the fourth fragment, you can change this no matter whatever you want to whatever you want. I use Ember of Benevolence based on if I'm playing in a team. Gives me my grenade back really fast when I apply restoration, cure, or radiant to anybody in my fire team, and I really like it. If you're playing solo or you don't want to use this one, you can look to use something like Ember of Tempering. You can use Ember of Searing. It's completely up to you. It can be swapped out to whatever you want it to be. And that covers the subclass setup. So let's move on to the mods. Starting off with what you want on the mods for the helmet. You want to look to having at least a Solar Siphon or Harmonic Siphon, because you want to be using solar weapons in this build. This is going to create orbs with rapid solar final blows. I like to use a heavy ammo finder to obviously find heavy ammo really easily. There you go. You know, and then you want to run a hands-on. You are going to be doing a lot of bonking. Let's be honest. You're going to throw that hammer. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Yeah, you're going to be throwing it a lot. So it's going to get you a lot of super energy when getting these melee kills with that bonk hammer. So that covers the helmet. Moving on to the arms. Big thing to know here, you should be using the Syntheseps exotic arms, so you get the biotic enhancements perk from the exotic. When you're surrounded, it gain increased melee and super damage, as well as improving the weapon handling and reload speed. Synthos are super good for general gameplay on Solar Titan. There's nothing else you should probably use, honestly, out of the exotic. Synthos is just the best, okay? Especially when you're going to be running around bonking everything. For the mods that you want to put on, I like to put on a couple of impact inductions, and what happens is causing damage with your melee. It's going to get your healing grenade back faster. And then we throw on a heavy-handed to close that out to create orbs of power when killing something with that bonk hammer. For your chest piece, just put reserve mods on, things like that. Reserve mods on and resist mods, things like that. Whatever you want to use there, pretty much, to be honest. But resist mods generally, and just use a chest piece for reserves if you want extra reserves. For the boots, now, for boots, is what you want to do on here. I like to run a innovation. And with innovation, picking up orbs helps you get your grenade back, aka your healing grenade. Keeps you alive. Recuperation. when picking up that orb as well is going to replenish some of your health if you need it too. Surges aren't really needed in any of the game now, chat, other than whether you're just running boss damage. So you generally run 3 of them or 2 of them. If you don't want to do any crazy swaps. So what I like to do generally is I always run a scavenger on my boots to whatever like heavy I'm using if I'm doing things like raids, things like that. So, and then I make a swap to having 3 surges on my other boots. So I have 3 surges that match, and I just make a swap. It's nice and easy to do. You can have 2 loadouts set for the same thing if you want, or you can just swap a pair of boots. It's super easy, and, you know, why would you not want to do that when you can do the most optimal damage? If you don't want to, you can just run a couple surges. You can make adjustments to the build itself, you know what I'm saying? Like, but generally I run a scav. In general gameplay, when you're just doing ad clear, I like to just run a scav anyway, just because I like to have more heavy ammo if I need it, especially if I'm using something like an LMG. You can just get more and more and more, especially if you're getting a lot of finders bricks around as well from people making Cenotaph heavy or Aeons heavy. So that's that. So, but you can play around with that a little bit yourself. It's not going to make too much of a difference. On for your class item, Reaper, so that whenever you use your barricade, your next kill from a weapon will create you an orb of power. And then I like to use outreach. Outreach is there plain and simply because if I lose my hammer, you know, I can proc it and it gives me some ability back to my hammer ability. Now, you can also use the 1-2 finisher mod. 1-2 finisher mod you can use as well. So you can hit a finisher and it'll give you your hammer back. That's another one you can use there as well in case you lose your hammer. Another one I like to use is healthy finisher here. And the reason being is it allows me, these mods here, like healthy finisher and 1-2 finisher, they allow me to stack surges without having a timer. So then when going into a boss damage encounter and I want to make swaps to my surges, those surges don't start until I make the swap. Okay, so I'm able to store my armor charges without using them anywhere else. Okay, but I have them there in case I need to get my melee back, such as my bonk hammer from doing a finisher, or if you just need a heal, healthy finisher gives you that little burst of healing from getting a finisher as well. You can also change that up if you really want to, guys. You can use proximity ward, you can use powerful attraction, you can use double outreach, you can use a bomber to get your healing nade back, whatever you may like. And that pretty much closes out the mods for this build. Go over the stats, what you want to spec into, guys. You want to definitely spec into 100 resilience. This gets your Titan barricade back, and it also provides you with a 30% DR reduction, okay? So make sure you're always specking into 100 resilience with the Titan. Then I like to spec into discipline and recovery. As you can see, I've got an 80 and a 70 here. Easy as anything, okay? In terms of the play loop, what you want to use for this build, you want to make sure that going into a fight, whether it's ad clear or anything like that, healing nade first. I like to store my healing nade grenade first, and that gives us restoration. Start killing, throw my bonk hammer. That's it. That's literally the play loop. It's so simple. You don't have to think on Solar Titan because you've always got restoration. You're always making sunspots. You're always killing. You're always bonking stuff. It's just a really fun build. And like I said, yesterday, when we played around with this build and we put this build together for the solo duality that we did, we pretty much nearly flawless the dungeon first try. It's so powerful, and it's been overshadowed just because of Strand Titan these days, but it's still a solid build to use, and I wanted to put it out for everybody that was asking for it in my chat yesterday. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and comment down below. Subscribe to the channel for more Destiny 2 content, and I will see you in the next one, gamers.